Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are unpacking Spain's absolutely dominant 3-0 World Cup victory over Austria. If you caught the match, you know it was basically as comfortable a win as we've seen in the tournament so far. But beneath the surface of that smooth 3-0 scoreline lies a really intricate, well-oiled tactical machine. We're going to break down how La Roja's setup is engineered for total control, and specifically how this whole system revolves around the undeniable, game-bending gravity of their teenage superstar, Lamine Yamal.
To really set the stage here, think about this brilliant analogy from the pundits. When you watch a team like France, it's like they're coming at you with a bazooka, right? Just overwhelming, explosive firepower right to the front line. But Spain kills you slowly. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts. They meticulously hold on to the ball. They never lose their structural shape, and they slowly, methodically wear you down over 90 minutes. You end up starved of possession, chasing shadows, and before you know it, you're entirely out of the game.
All right, let's move right into Section 1, Death by 1,000 Cuts.
14 seconds. That is literally the average time it took for Spain to win the football back from Austria whenever they actually managed to lose it. Just put yourself in the shoes of an Austrian player for a second. You finally intercept a pass, you look up to take a breath, and within 14 seconds, the ball is gone again. It completely suffocates the opposition before they can even establish a rhythm.
And you can see the result right here. 4 matches played, 0 goals conceded all tournament. But here is the real secret behind that flawless record. Their defensive masterclass is actually a direct byproduct of their total control of the football. They don't even need to put in a massive volume of tackles because the opposition simply never has the ball in dangerous areas.
So the crucial takeaway is how their offensive positioning directly fuels their defense. Spain's players are so technically sound, they just don't risk the ball without a clear reward. And because they hold possession in these super tight, structured triangles, when a turnover does happen, their guys are already just 5 to 7 yards away from the opponent. They aren't sprinting 30 yards backward to defend a counterattack. They just swarm. It's an instant, high-level repress that kills any threat on the spot.
Which leads us to Section 2, the Fluid Fullback Masterclass.
This structural movement right here is what tore Austria's formation apart, and it operates like pistons in a perfectly tuned engine. It's a 3-step flow. First, the winger, like Yamal or Baena, is instructed to stay incredibly high and wide, totally stretching the defense. Then, as Spain moves up, a midfielder rotates outward into the winger's traditional space. This leaves the opposing fullback completely paralyzed. If they step out to cover, they leave a massive gap, and boom, that triggers step 3. The Spanish fullback attacks that newly opened central space as a completely unaccounted runner.
The result of this fluid interchanging was an absolute masterclass from the fullbacks. I mean, they secured the highest ratings on the pitch. Marc Cucurella served up 2 brilliant assists, and Pedro Porro slid right into that central gap for a crucial goal. Austria's center backs were constantly caught in no man's land, totally confused by these late runners.
And now we arrive at the absolute core of our explainer. In Section 3, Yamal's unseen tactical gravity.
You know, some analysts have been questioning if 18-year-old Lamine Yamal is still loading this tournament, suggesting he hasn't quite hit that explosive 6th gear we saw during his club season at Barcelona. But guys, evaluating him purely on highlight reel dribbles misses the point entirely. His invisible impact, what we call his tactical gravity, is doing the absolute heavy lifting for this entire Spanish squad.
You want to know the kind of sheer respect this kid commands? Austrian coach Ralf Rangnick was so terrified of him that he deployed 2 elite, veteran professionals from Bayern and Dortmund, Konrad Lemaire and Marcel Sabitzer, just to double-team Yamal out on the wing. I mean, think about what it means for a teenager to force that kind of elite defensive attention. It tells you the whole story.
And the cascading effect of that fear is devastating. Because Yamal is isolated wide and 2 Austrian defenders are 100% committed to stopping him, the structural integrity of the defense just breaks. A massive central space opens up on the opposite side. And who exploits it? Pedro Porro, running completely unmarked into the box to score. Yamal literally doesn't even need to touch the ball in that sequence to be the primary reason the goal happens. That right there is tactical gravity.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, Oyarzabal, the unsung striker.
While Yamal draws all the eyes in the double teams, let's highlight the guy ruthlessly exploiting those remaining spaces. Mikel Oyarzabal is quietly having an absolutely incredible tournament. He's already up to 4 goals, having scored 2 against Saudi Arabia and netting 2 more of those crucial strikes against Austria today.
What's so fascinating here is how much he flies under the radar. He might not have the flashy superstar hype of an Mbappe or Yamal, but look at this efficiency. 17 goals in 17 games for Spain. He has quietly climbed the ranks to become the 6th top scorer in the entire history of the Spanish national team. That is wild.
His absolute superpower is his elite footballing intelligence. He knows exactly when to make those darting runs behind the defense, when to drop back to receive the ball and create space, and how to perfectly balance out the dynamic midfield runs coming from players like Dani Olmo. He's always in the exact right spot to just open his foot and guide the ball in. He makes it look incredibly easy, but consistently finding that space is a genuine art form.
All right, moving into Section 5, the looming tests.
Because as dominant as this 3-0 win was, heavier, way more aggressive challenges are looming. In the round of 16, they face Portugal, and this is where the tactical chess match gets really fun. Portugal features incredibly dynamic attacking fullbacks like Nuno Mendes and Nelson Semedo. That means Spain's wingers and fullbacks, who have had the luxury of mostly just attacking so far, are going to be forced to prove they can track back and defend against players making the exact same overlapping runs at them.
And when you zoom out to look at the ultimate tournament picture, we have this fascinating clash of styles brewing on opposite sides of the bracket. On one side, we have Spain's methodical, suffocating control, and on the other, we have France, an absolute powerhouse loaded with explosive attacking firepower. It's a classic matchup in the making, the choking grip of possession versus the devastating strike of the counterattack.
So I'll leave you with this final thought for our explainer today. Spain has achieved near perfection in their system, largely driven by the fluid movement of their fullbacks and that immense, unseen tactical gravity of young Lamine Yamal. But as this tournament heats up and the opposition gets faster, stronger, and far more aggressive, who will be the team with the tactical blueprint to finally break Spain's flawless defensive chokehold? Keep a very close eye on those wide areas in the next round, because that is exactly where this tournament will be won or lost. Thanks for learning with us today.